What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. It's M. Williams. Today I'm going to talk about bitterness. So it's Sunday morning when I'm recording this. Let's talk about bitterness. So what does bitterness mean? So if you look up bitterness in a dictionary, it's going to mean it's anger, and it's having anger and disappointment about being treated unfairly and resentment. Bitterness is anger and disappointment and being treated unfairly and resentment. So in my opinion, you guys, and on my channel I like to do self-help stuff too, so I consider this self-help, you guys. So anyway, because our hair can't be healthy, our bodies cannot be healthy, our skin cannot be healthy, nothing about us, emotions, mental health, nothing can be healthy if we don't deal with or discuss or delve into some of this stuff. So bitterness, what is bitterness? It's a human emotion, you guys. It's human. Like we are all, you've heard people say we're all human, and we are all human. We are all human. So, but what is bitterness? Bitterness is when you have anger, disappointment, and you feel like you've been treated unfairly, and then resentment. So when I think about bitterness, to me, it's like another level of anger. Like it's several levels of anger. It's like, in my opinion, it's like when have someone has been done wrong, or been mistreated, or they're angry, or they're disappointed in something, and then it just they marinate in it. It kind of festers, and it kind of like sits, and it kind of ferments, if you will. That's another word I just thought of, another adjective to kind of describe in my head what I think bitterness is. It's not just anger. To me, it goes beyond that, because it's like, everybody gets angry sometimes. Everybody feels mistreated sometimes. Everybody feels some type of way sometimes. But in my opinion, bitterness is when you just have not moved on. You just have not forgiven the person. And sometimes, you guys, forgiveness is not always going to that person and saying, oh, I'm sorry. Sometimes a lot of times forgiveness is an inward thing. It's something inside of you that you do where you forgive this person. And sometimes, people feel like they just can't move on. They kind of get stuck in that place, and then they become bitter, and that's just in my own personal opinion. Because, in all honesty, you guys, everyone has been hurt. Everybody has been angry. Everybody has been disappointed. Everybody has been mistreated. Everybody has felt some type of way. We all have. Who hasn't? We all have. I don't know, not one person who hasn't. But the thing of it is, you guys, when it turns into bitterness, then it not only affects that person, but it affects you. It starts affecting you. It affects your behavior. It affects your attitude. It affects how you think about things. It affects how you see things. It affects your energy, your spirit, how you come off, like, how you behave, your attitude, all of that stuff. It affects everything, you guys. It affects everything, because it goes from being about the person until it starts affecting you. It really starts to affect you in a very negative way. And then with me being a retired hairstylist who was in the industry over 30 years, I'm going to take it back to hair. Because a lot of times, people who don't do hair, just regular lay people you don't even do hair. And sometimes you may be wondering why your hair is falling out, why you having hair loss, why your hair is not growing, why your hair is not healthy. And you guys, the main reason sometimes it could be because of bitterness. Because what people don't understand, lay people don't understand, is whatever is going on internally with you is going to affect your hair. So if you're not happy, if you're not a happy person, it's gonna affect your hair. If you're a stressed out person, you always stressed, it's gonna affect your hair. If you always angry, it's gonna affect your hair. If you always stressed out, it's gonna affect your hair. If you have a lot of anxiety, it's gonna affect your hair. Like, what people don't understand is what's going on internally in your heart, in your spirit, in your soul, in your mind. It affects your hair in a negative way or a positive way. It affects your hair.
What?
So back to this bitterness. Bitterness is, in my opinion, it's a whole other level. And then you guys, what's so crazy about it is when someone is bitterness, other people will know that they're bitter. And you want to know why? The reason why people will know that someone is bitter, because they hardly ever smile, they don't ever seem happy. They seem like it's a challenge for them to be happy for other people. You know, they say negative things to other people, or they say negative things a lot about other people. Or, you know, they don't seem like they can, you know, they don't really pray for other people. Like, they don't seem to want to see the success of other people. Their energy is always down. You know, they attack other people verbally or possibly physically. But, you know, the thing of it is, you guys, as I mentioned a second ago, like, everybody has been through stuff. Everybody has been through things that have made them angry, things that have disappointed them, things have upset them, people have been mistreated. So when we're wallowing and marinating in this whole bitterness, and we having this behavior that everyone can see, it kind of repels people. It repels people.
Let's go.
This is all my opinion, you know, and it makes people not want to be around you because, you know, like they call it a negative Nancy kind of thing, where, you know, you're around this person and they always seem unhappy. Their energy is always down. They don't say positive things about others, you know. They just always have this nasty negative energy, and they just change the whole room. Like, as soon as you're in their presence, you know, it's like everything changes, and not for the better. You know, it's just negative. And so you could wonder, you know, sometimes they may wonder, you know, why no one wants to be around them, why people kind of shun them, why, you know, it's because of the energy. Now, one thing about God, He gave us so much wisdom. He gives us a lot of wisdom in the Word of God, and, you know, a lot of ways of how to handle this. And you guys know I'm going to put stuff on the screen. I'm big on liking to put stuff on the screen so you can not only hear what I'm saying, but you also can read it. Then you guys know I also drop a lot of stuff down below. Put a lot of stuff down below to try to help you too. I mean, and then, you know, a lot of times we don't want to look within and we don't want to look at ourselves. But if it's someone that you're close to, like a friend, a family member, a parent, or whomever that you trust, you know, ask them and tell them, you know, give them permission to be honest with you. And then they will, because if you see that you have some of these behaviors and some of these characteristics, then you might want to look into it yourself. Because who wants to be repelled by others? Who wants to be shunned by others? And, you know, who wants to walk around forever with this negative energy? Like they say, you guys, it takes 21 days to form a habit. So it's not an overnight success type of story. It's something where you got to get in the scripture. You got to you got to be honest with yourself. Because one thing about deception, self-deception is the worst. Self-deception. When you lie to yourself, that's the worst. If you can't even be honest with yourself, and you can't sit down with yourself and take notes and write notes about yourself and your behavior and grow. Everybody, like I said, go through something. What we have to remember too, a great quote that one of my old pastors said, and he said, your attitude determines your altitude. Your attitude determines your altitude. In other words, your attitude and your behavior, it determines how high you go. And then, when we go through stuff in life, we want to kind of wallow and marinate in it. But a lot of times, I tell people, a lot of stuff be a spiritual test. It's only a test. It's only a test. Some things that we go through in life, God, He don't cause them, but He will allow us to be tested in the area of what we're going through. Because sometimes what we're going through, like I said, it's only a test. And it's just God allowing us to be tested in that area. Because one thing about it, when you're in the 9th grade and you're trying to grow to the 10th grade, you're trying to be, going to that next level in high school, you're in the 9th, you're trying to go through the 10th, you got to take a test. And you not only have to take a test, but you have to pass the test. So God allowed us in the spiritual realm too, where we have to go through things sometimes in our life. And so look at how your behavior is. Assess your own behavior. Assess yourself. Do some self-assessment and see where you are. Because, you may have went through a lot of hard things. You may have went through a lot of trauma. It may be where a friend betrayed you. It may be a separation. It may have been a very ugly, nasty divorce. It may have been some health issues or surgery you had to go through. It may have been where you was fired from your job and you don't feel like you deserve it. It may have been where you have gained a lot of weight and you like, oh my God. It may be a number of things, but all the things I just named is stuff that other people go through too. So you're not the onlyest one on the earth, on the planet who are going through these things. A lot of people have been through nasty divorces. A lot of people may be separated right now. A lot of people may have gained weight that didn't want to gain weight. A lot of people may have been fired from jobs, This is stuff that the world, that we as a people, that we all go through. If you human and you on this earth, you have been through something that has angered you, that has disappointed you. There's going to be people that have betrayed you, people who you trusted and they did you wrong, people who lied on you, people that stabbed you in the back, people who you thought were your friends but they really weren't, people who you felt like they wished you the best but they really didn't. Everybody go through stuff, you guys. We all. I don't know anyone who hasn't. I've been through things. You've been through things. Everybody has. So again, your attitude in it determines your altitude. So that bitterness is that accumulated anger. It's built up anger and sadness over what you have been through in the past. And to me, the key word is the past. It's the past, you guys, so you got to move on. And then one thing about when you go through things, whether it's good things or bad things, one thing about it, you learn from it. And you're supposed to grow from it. If you go through something bad, then the next time, okay, I'm already equipped because I know how this going to turn out. And that's how you gain that wisdom. But if you think that you're a person who's never going to be spiritually tested, never going to be tested at all, never going to go through a hard time, then okay. Even Jesus, somebody come on. Even Jesus had to go through things. And we think we not going to go through things? That's going to be a negatory. So a key point is when you're going through this and you're feeling like you're bitter, or you have become bitter, look at yourself. Look at you. Point the finger at yourself. Even though the anger and the bitterness may have been caused by somebody else, even though you was wronged by somebody else, look at you. Like Michael Jackson say, look at the man in the mirror. Look at the man or the woman in the mirror. And the reason that you want to do that is because you can't change nobody else.
Thank you.
When did we get that much power, you guys, that we can change somebody else? We can't. We cannot change anyone else. So if you're focusing on the person who angered you, if you focus on the person who did you wrong, if you focus on the person that stabbed you in the back, if you focus on, if you focus on the negative, then you can't create anything positive. So you have to look at yourself. And the reason why you look at yourself, because you want to assess yourself, see how your behavior is, look at back when you went through what you went through. Because you guys, sometimes people be bitter from something that happened to them 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 50 years ago, 12 years ago, 15 years ago, 13 years ago. Sometimes people become bitter from stuff that happened to them a long time ago. So you want to reassess it. Look at the past. You guys, go back, get you a tablet, go to the Dollar Tree or Dollar Store, Walmart, or wherever you go. Get you a tablet like this, get you a pen, and you write down the situation that made you bitter. You write it down, the situation that made you angry. Because you may not even know that you're bitter. But if you're having some of those behaviors that I mentioned, or like I said, I'm going to drop some stuff down below. I'm going to put some stuff on the screen. And if it sounds like it's you, then simply go back to your past and try to find where the root. Try to find where the root is. Because like the old folks said, it root. Because we know if we have a beautiful garden in the backyard, and we know if a weed comes up in the garden, we know that it can just kill and, cause problems for what we have in the garden, whether it's a flower garden, a flower bed, a vegetable bed. We know that the weeds can come in and pretty much take over and destroy what we have in the garden, right? So you want to pull and pluck up them weeds from what? The root. The root. Because if you don't pull it up from the root, you will see it again in a minute. It's going to come back up. It's going to resurface. It's going to show its ugly head again. So you guys, look at you, because the person who you feel like violated you, upset you, hurt you, like, no, I'm not here saying they didn't do any of that. I believe they did do that to you. But if you go on and you marinate in all this anger, you keep marinating in it like a cesspool. You marinate in it. You let it ferment. You ferment in it. You marinate in it. You wallow in it. Then it turns from anger to bitterness. From anger to bitterness. Because we know the way the world works, or the system, the kingdom of God system works, the way the world is. We know anything that we plant, because God, He talks about seed time and harvest. So we know anything that's planted will grow. We know a seed will bring a harvest. So if somebody made you angry, that's a seed that was planted in your heart. If you do not pluck that thing up and deal with it, next thing you know, it's going to be bitterness, because that's going to be the harvest from that seed of anger. So if you don't pluck it up at the root, it's going to turn into bitterness. And it's going to affect your entire life. It's going to affect your energy, and it's going to affect people being around you. They're not going to want to. It affects your whole personality. It affects your work relationships. And it affects your personal relationships, both. People avoid you because of your negative energy. Bitterness makes you angry, disappointed, and irritable. Like you always irritated. And that's another reason. Like, would you want to be around somebody who's always angry, always upset, don't smile that much? Is that, always talking about bad things that happen to them. Again, you guys, not trying to make it small or minute. I'm just trying to get to the root of it, because the Bible says that the truth makes us free. I know there's another version said that the truth set you free. I like the version that says the truth makes you free, because whether you want to be free or not, just hearing the truth And operating in truth is the seed that you need that's going to pluck out all those weeds. And so you see people become bitter and they repel people because you're very bitter and you're very angry because of bad things that happened to you in the past. People mistreated you, and like some of the other things I named that we all go through. Everybody goes through bad stuff, but it's all about how you see it, how you deal with it. Because God made us to be free moral agents. We can make decisions and we can make choices in how we are. And then, sometimes when you become bitter, you slander other people, you slander them because you see other people happy and you get kind of envious and jealous, and you like, okay, God, why they so happy over here? Or why does everything they go through, everything that happened to them, it seems to come out right. You become envious and jealous of other people and other people's happiness. And you can start attacking people. Like I said earlier, you can attack people verbally and sometimes physically. But you guys, at the end of the day, it's about you. It's about how are you going to deal with this. And a lot of times, you guys, it ain't even all that. A lot of times it is a spiritual test that God has allowed you to take because he's trying to take you to another level. And we all who know anything about God, what we do know about God, and that is that God is always about the other person. He's always about helping somebody else. So whenever we go through things, instead of us focusing on it, marinating on it, being totally focused on it, we need to see what we can do to help the next person. Like, we need to see what we went through and we survived it, and then let me try to help the next person. Because trust me, there's someone else out there in your life, or someone that God will bring across your path that you can help. And you can say, oh girl, or oh guy, I went through all this, but let me tell you how I came out. But God can't use you in that way, in that capacity, until you're mature enough to be used in that way. If you're marinating and you're wallowing and you're only focused on yourself and you being narcissistic about it and you acting like this all about you, if you're focused on that, then how God gonna use you? Because all your focus is inward. You're not even focusing on the fact that, okay, I know I went through this rough time in my life. I know I went through this rough period in my life. I know this brother did me wrong. I know this man did me wrong. I know my friend did me wrong. I know these people did me wrong. I know my job fired me and I didn't deserve it. I know this, that, and I know the third. But at the end of the day, look at yourself and see what is it about these situations that you could have done better. What is it from these situations that you can grow from? What is it from these situations that you can learn from? What is it from these situations that you can go through and you can learn and you can pass this spiritual test that God has allowed you to take? Why? So that you can pass it, you can mature in it, you can grow from it, you can learn from it, and then you can help somebody else. But if you so focused on yourself, God can't use you to help nobody because you still marinating and you still fermenting in something that happened to you 20 years ago. It's time to get up, take up your bed, and walk. Time to get up, take up your bed, and walk. Pimp on to the next. See what it is. See what the end gonna be. See what it is that God had. You don't even know all of that could have happened, and then you could have survived all of that so that God can birth a ministry out of you. You don't know why God has allowed you to be tested in that area. If you just focus on you and you don't see the bigger picture and see that God is trying to show you something about you, something about your behavior, because sometimes our behaviors and the seeds that we sow will produce a harvest, because the Bible say that's always going to be that whatever seed we sow, that shall we surely, sure enough reap. So don't be bitter, but my brother, don't be bitter, my sister. Be positive, and if you have been through something hard, just know God has always created a way of escape for us. And then remember that God always have others on the forefront of his mind. And so ask God what it is that he wants you to do and learn from it. Sometimes you got to unpack that stuff and go back 20, 30, 40 years back and see, and you got to pull up that root from way back, because you never did get over it. You never did move on from it. You never did pass on from it. You never did go to the next level. You never did forgive the person. You didn't forgive them in your heart. And so you just marinating, and it's affected your whole life all these years. Go back and pull up the root. Go back and identify, because the Bible says if you catch the thief, he has to repay sevenfold. But you first got to catch him. You first got to catch the thief. Who is the thief? Who is the thief that stole your joy, your peace, your prosperity, or whatever it is that you believe in God for? Who was the thief? He said if you catch the thief, he got to repay you sevenfold. So come on, y'all, let's get rid of this bitterness, because it's not only affecting your life, it's affecting other people around you. It's affecting people not wanting to be around you. It's affecting God's ability to be able to use you. It's affecting a whole plethora of things. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope you can pull up this root, identify this root, look for it, search for it, seek it out, find this root, and pull it up. Thank you guys. God bless you guys, and have a peaceful day. See you soon.